What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to episode 33 of Domiciled, the podcast that explores the subculture of truck drivers as well as logistics professionals, bringing their stories to the masses. I'm your host, Scott Cleary, and as you know, before we kick things off, let's talk about our favorite colorful recruiting rodent. I'm keeping that. I like that. Purple Squirrel. So Purple Squirrel represents freight agents, freight brokerages, and freight forwarding companies. If you'd like to learn more too, maybe. Reduce your liability and grow your career, you should have a chat with Ryan Smith over at Purple Squirrel about becoming an independent agent. They represent multiple broker and forwarding companies, allowing them to provide you with several career offers. You have options. Let them advocate on your behalf. Paul, good to have you back as always, buddy. How we doing?
We're back. I missed you the other week, but we're back. We're rocking. I spent some time down in San Antonio, a little conference action. I was actually on a panel. Yeah, I was on a panel a couple weeks ago, which was super fun. Shout out to IWLA. We're cranking, rocking, rolling, growing. Life's cool. Life's fun. Back in the gym, a little bulk phase. Let's see if we can get a little belly going before the winter starts. I'm sure you. We're both on the same boat. We're on the same.
Yeah, day two. Our cycles synced.
Oh my God. Really exciting there, but no, I'm just happy to be chatting with you, man, in my element.
Good, man. Good. No, it's good to have you back. As the post said today, I took a swing and a monologue. So that was interesting. I think it was well timed given the trip with my dad. So I tried my hand at it, kept it under 5 minutes. So I think that was pretty solid. Otherwise, I think at that point you're just rambling, and I did have a bit of a message I want to get across. So it was cool, man. It was fun. Again, would have loved to have you. Had a nice chat with Ashley Smith. Lots of she was just rearing to go with stories. A little bit of background on her, and then she talked about Navix a bit and spam call go away, and then she was just ripping stories. And the way she met her husband was off of a recovery for a load she had. So it was really cool to hear that. Like, that's how they met. And now they got 3 kids, right? So just funny story. And man, excited to actually after this meet up with Zach Hagelman, perhaps Danielle Chaffin too. The couple of Revanova folks They were in here for they were in and out just today for a potential client meeting. So figured, hey, they're in town. I'll go say hey.
Yeah, quick in and out.
And by today, I mean it's Tuesday the 23rd, but. Whatever. Hopefully we have a good time. I think we will.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be super fun, man.
So all good on this front. I just we're coming up on Q4, bud. Coming up on Q4, that final push for all the sales monkeys.
Yes.
How you feeling?
I feel great. I mean, I think we've had another amazing year over here. I mean, it's really interesting I'll tell you what's fun. What's fun is talking to a customer on a Monday, showing an engineer something that night, talking to another customer on Tuesday, getting that feedback again and going to an engineer and having them make some changes. And then by Thursday, meeting with that original customer again and going, hey, this is what we're thinking. And they go, is this like a prototype? And we're like, no, this is live. Mm-hmm. And have the face kind of just being, how are you doing that? It's probably one of the coolest feelings as a salesperson that you can experience. And I mean, it's really awesome to solve real problems. I mean, some of the things I think I told you about is some of the things we're doing around validating CDLs. It's just really awesome. Like Conduit, very fun time, great team, great people. Growing sales team too. We've got shout out CJ and Mallory over there.
Hey.
My Road Warriors. If you check out my LinkedIn, you'll see a picture of CJ in a cowboy hat looking like Dollar Store Matthew McConaughey. And the best part about it is they get to cover some travel for me, so that's great. But I mean, I think I'm really excited for today's show. I'm really excited because a couple weeks ago we talked to someone I worked with in the past, that I think very fondly of, and I think today we're talking to someone that I've worked with in the past. Actually, I think I recall having a very long conversation in my truck.
Random truck.
When I was making, on the phone, when I was making the decision to come over to where I am now. So it's really, really kind of full circle. But yeah, I'm really excited talking to Michael Gray today.
Yeah, so there he is. That's our next guest, folks. So as always, we're in for an absolute treat on this epi. Our next guest, Michael Gray, he hails from Jackson, Wyoming, that area, and is a 25-year veteran of our industry. He comes from a trucking family. We love that here on Domiciled. And beginning just 19 years old, he was already driving trucks and helping his dad run the family fleet of 25 for the next 17 years. So following this invaluable hands-on experience, he moved into the tech space where he helped many companies understand drivers and their needs, especially advocating for owner ops, and has been a part of the pioneering many now accepted tech forward practices our lovable low tech industry, as he likes to call it, which is true, while working at Convoy and other companies. So his latest endeavor has brought him back to his roots of how do I help owner ops thrive. Here to talk about his company, Bestloads.AI, and a whole lot more. Welcome to the show, Michael Gray. What's going on, man? Good to have you.
Hey guys, appreciate you having me. This is great, and good to be with an old friend and a new friend.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate that.
Great to have you. Great to have you. So Mike, I was thinking when we were getting ready for this, I was thinking about a couple of days ago, or maybe, God, it might have been a couple of weeks ago. You reached out to me and you're like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. Hey, give me a call, not urgent." I was like, "Oh, let's chat. Let's see what's going on." I got a couple of minutes. And you're like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. You want to try it out?" And I think you know my opinion on most AI things, which is like, cool, you made a chat bot, right? But I was really blown away by working through what you were, what you guys put together. And I think I even recall a conversation like months ago, right? Of like you maybe hinting at something. And I just think it's really neat kind of seeing something come to fruition. So I'm really excited to chat with you about that today.
Yeah, it's been nearly a year since this was a conversation with me and a friend on a week-long elk hunt, and identifying the problem, talking through the problem, and here we are. That was in October, so we're darn near a year. Yeah. But yeah, it's much more than a chatbot. Like a chatbot would be honestly pretty easy to build. The industry, I think, is being overrun with chatbots right now, and so I could just give like a high level kind of what it
whatever
is,
you want.
Bestloads is, and kind of how I came up with really identified this problem. So after I got as sales manager at one of these freight tech companies, I got laid off, and honestly got burnt out. That was kind of the last burnout on freight tech, and decided, man, I got to do something for myself. And I had a little bit of a brokerage that I have going, still have that going. That's what supports my family and feeds everybody. But I had the idea, like, I've run a trucking company before. I'm going to run a trucking company again. So went out and I'd never really started it from scratch. It was my dad's company, ran it. And it was super eye-opening, the dispatching industry, and how it was just eye-opening as to how big of an industry this is. I didn't think it was that big of a thing, but as anybody who has a active carrier MC number knows, I mean, you get 20, 30 phone calls a day with these guys just hounding you to be your dispatcher. And just started thinking about it and talking to these guys, and I'm like, man, it is a low bar of service. And then on the flip side, as being a broker, I'm an agent, and I recognize, hey, these guys are actually dispatched. A lot of these guys are dispatchers that I'm talking to. Gotcha. And I kind of came to the conclusion, like, these dispatchers are not doing these truckers any favors. And I think it's actually causing them to lose good freight. I like to think that I'm one of the brokers that has good freight. I'm not out there finding the cheapest guy. I want a guy who can give service, communicate. Very low faith in that happening with these third-party dispatching services. And, as AI started coming into this realm, and I listened to some, conversation, I'm like, I think there's actually something that could be done here to keep this pretty low cost for drivers. And, a good solution, to really help these guys. And say a caveat there. I'm not fully, even I'm starting an AI company, I'm not fully in on the AI, right? I don't, this industry, I don't think brokers or truckers are ready for a full meal deal where it's going to be cradle to grave, booking a load and talking to an AI agent. I don't think good brokers are going to give loads to an AI agent. So, you know, I'll just kind of pause there. I've been talking for a little while, but, you know, that's kind of the genesis of the idea of what I had. So,
yeah, I mean, a couple of things you said. One that I think that's really important is like, I think you and I both have, I actually think all of us, although Scott, does Bluegrace count as one of the tech brokerages?
I think so, because they had Blue Ship, their own proprietary TMS pretty early. So I would say so. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think I always thought about them as someone who was more like established than a lot of the newer.
They're very heavy, like big LTL, like managed trans LTL, and then got into truckload. But Bobby Harris, CEO, his baby was always Blue Ship. They want their own TMS. You know, when I was there, it ran on Mercury Gate. Don't know if it still does. You know, the back end of it. But again, I was just a knucklehead pounding the phone, so I didn't know any better. Yeah, like it's funny looking back now at that stuff, like kind of putting it all together in my head. Anyways, yes, I think they are.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess like, you know, we've all kind of worked in the brokerage space, and one of the things that's I think is interesting is that, well, first of all, I think you're right. I mean, most of the folks I talk to, it's like they want a person. I guess I'll post on LinkedIn today of someone talking like kind of about DHL and was like, I've been arguing with this AI agent for 30 minutes, and then and people would kind of were like underneath it, you know, oh, come work with us, we're people. And then he was like, nope, finally fixed it, I got a person. And he was like, I wouldn't move because they have the largest network possible for what I'm trying to do. He's like, I'm just complaining. And I think he actually tagged DHL, which is crazy, but
one way to complain about your employer. Hey,
there you go. But yeah, it was one of those things where I think a lot of us have seen like people have the AI ideas, and like, you know, I think anytime you hear one, you look around to like the veteran in the room that's got like the $1 million book of business, and you're like, what's going on there? And you were like, you're waiting for them, right? Because they know more than you, and you see the face, and you see that like it's just like yeah, right, okay,
yeah.
And like I think it's really important to say like some of the things you've shared, you know, with me that I'm really excited to get into is that's not the goal here. And then the second thing that you mentioned when you were just talking, which I think is really important, which is like low barrier to entry, right?
Yeah.
I think that's something that, you know, I've talked to a lot of folks in like the trucking, like the more of the carrier TMS space. And I think you're going to know what I'm talking about, Michael. It's like, you're talking to someone who, you know, traditionally uses a factoring organization to cover the float. What SaaS subscription are you going to, you know what I mean? Like it has to be pretty darn important, right? It has to solve a real problem. And I think that's what's so exciting about chatting with you is these things, you know, from when I, you know, gave it a little testy, right? Like these things are very valuable. This is a time saver. So I was hoping you could tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So like I guess I'll kind of go over the flow, which I gave you guys the number, right? So we're not building an app. We're not building a website. There's no login. You know, personally, I'm out of passwords, so I'm not going to build another website to get a freaking password for. And I think everybody has kind of like app fatigue, right? And so we're building something that works the way a trucker wants to work, right? And I've been in a truck. I've had my CDL since I'm 19. I've driven a lot, and you know, so I get it. And you know, so the truck driver life, you know, you're in your truck, and what a lot of people don't really appreciate, and what I don't think they understand is like how busy you actually are when you're driving a truck, especially if you're an owner operator. Like you're freaking busy most of the time. It's not like you're just sitting there, just driving along. You know, there's crap going on. You got crap going on at home. You know, you got this claim from somebody submitting to your insurance. You got stuff, factoring company denied something, right? There's
repairs.
Stuff. Yeah. And you're handling an 80,000 pound rig going, however fast down the freeway, and worried about your next load and finding a good load. And, the load boards, sure, you can put your app on a holder and scroll through, but man, I think it's dangerous. Hey, maybe if you're going through Wyoming, it might be okay, depending on the month.
Sure, yeah, not in the winter.
Not in the winter. You definitely don't want to do that. But it's you just can't really do that. Like you can't go through Houston, and freaking be looking at something other than the road, or LA, or fill in the blank, right?
Any big city, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
Illinois.
Something that, like, hey, it's kind of like if a guy's wife, say your guy's wife is at home dispatching for him, finding him loads, wife's going to text him like, hey, I found this load. What do you think? Right? That's exactly how our AI works. So the AI can look at multiple sources of loads all at the same time, multiple load boards. And so let's say, LA produce season, right? Easily 1,000 loads posted if you got a reefer down there. Maybe even double or triple that on some days. And, everybody has their lane. So how do you go? How can one human even digest that much? So what we built is we have a scoring system. The AI will look at, the driver gives us the preferences. We have their overall profile, which is given by the phone. And maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. It's like, hey, I got a reefer. I got to drive in. I like to stay in the Southwest, whatever, kind of talk to Harper, our AI agent. She builds a profile. And then there's also like the individual load by load nuance, right? Nothing stays static. Hey, I'm in Phoenix and I want to go to, Chicago or something like that, right? This time, maybe next time I want to go to Houston, fill in the blank. So even if a human were to look at multiple load sources, it's time consuming. You're going to miss stuff. AI can look at all the sources at the same time. Say there's 1,000 results returned. AI can nearly instantaneously, we have our own proprietary grading system where we rate the load like 0 to 100 based on what the driver's input is. And we'll text the top 3 loads right to that driver's phone. And that's kind of, that's like what you guys saw, right? You kind of went through that, and I think you got some loads, didn't you?
Yeah, I got recommended quite a few, and I even like switched around a bit. It even got my last name. So I was like, you know what it reminded me of, Mike? It reminded me of TurboTax.
Really?
In the best way possible, in the sense that, like,
look, I love TurboTax.
Think about, like, well, Scott, hear me out here. I've got like a thesis. So
yeah.
When you go to
like water tax.
So what I think about is, like, when you sell a software, right, you're walking someone through a workflow and you're showing them best practice. And if that software isn't built right, or maybe it's really complex because it does a lot of things. Think about like an SAP, right? That SAP is clunky, but SAP is the answer for enterprise information systems, right? Like, I have a ton of things to do from WMS to TMS, et cetera. I need to do everything. I need to do an ERP. That's what that's for. And that's why that is so complicated. And that's why there are people who are certified in it, right? Salesforce can be pretty clunky if you don't have a great admin, right? When you have a great admin, you got a great product, right, Scott? It all makes sense. But when you the ideal situation that I always think of is, it's TurboTax. It's going to go great. Now you filled this out. Now fill this out. Now you filled this out. Now fill this out. And that's exactly what it felt like. It held my hand through the whole piece, and then it made me confirm all of it. And it was like, great, and you can call it and say, hey, I'm looking for a load. And you can text it, say, hey, I'm looking for a load. And it's going to go, great. Are you still driving this equipment? Which is so... it's funny. There's people that are brokers that you could call when they're looking for a load, like some carrier that or carrier ops guy, say, hey, do you guys still have another one coming up for this? And guess what? They might not remember the equipment you have. This system remembers that. And I thought it was really neat that it guided me through that process. And the best part was it's on a text message thread or a phone call, which is not another app. It's not another, oh no, my login, like you said. Like, it's something naturally of how we talk to people. I think that's such a smart way to do it because our industry is done on the phone.
It is, and that it's a relationship industry, right? I don't think that's ending anytime soon. Like I was like on the founding team of Convoy, and people had a conversation back then of how much of a relationship industry this is. That was like 2014. It really hasn't changed that much, and and that's why the name Bestloads, like that's how we don't want to just find you loads, right? You could set your DAT filters and whatever, and probably do pretty good on finding loads, but are you gonna find best loads, right? What's the difference? And then that relationship piece, me personally, I think the ideal situation is, we text that driver, hey, here's 3 loads. Might say, hey, these 3 don't work for me, and then maybe another one pops up, hey, we just found this, and the AI is doing this, right? Yep. And using that AI intelligence to score those loads, 0 to 100 based on what's going to be a best fit. And it'll learn and adapt to that driver. And so let's say it finds a good load. And like, I think personally, like the ideal situation, that driver calls that broker and books it himself. It's just same as like somebody gives you a phone number and
here's the number. Yeah.
Just click the call that. Hey, this is Joe, MC number, book it yourself. From the opposite side, as being a broker and lived in the brokerage world as well, like if you have a really good load, a really high priority load as a broker, and you want to have this sense of confidence in the driver that you're giving it to, it's not some crappy, 45,000 pounds of beverages that pays $1.80, right? That you'll just find anybody that can fog a mirror and hold a steering wheel, to do it. And you're trying to make $50 on the load or something, right?
Yeah.
It's different when you have like really good loads. And I understand that. And as I see, so I'll give you an example from what it's like on the broker side, because I don't feel like a lot of drivers really understand this. And, right. Kind of there's like this animosity, brokers are scum. And I get that. There are a lot of scum brokers. So, I'll post a load, and a lot of times I won't put my phone number. I'll just put email, because I'll get so many, because I have a pretty good rate and I want to go through them. So within like 2 minutes, I'll get 20 emails. And out of those 20 emails, nearly none of them have any context in the body of the email. Yep. It's just like a question mark or details.
It's the worst. Like seeing those posts on LinkedIn are too funny. Targets back, but
you should see Reddit.
It's a really low bar.
I believe it.
So getting back to that relationship piece, it's ideal the driver calls them themselves, right? If we need more details before the driver wants to accept it, we're building it out where the AI will do an initial reach out and get additional details. But also within that, like, hey, this is, whatever MC number, best loads on behalf of MC number. Our driver is going to be empty at 1 p.m., 30 miles away. He's highway, RMIS, and my carrier packet compliant. If he's not already set up with you, we can get set up in 5 minutes. The driver really wants to do this load, but we got to know a couple more details before we do it. And I, as a broker, I never get an email like that. But if I were, I'd be like, damn, okay, I'm going to give this guy the load. And if he asks me for like a couple $100 extra or something more than somebody else, probably going to give it to him. And I don't think I'm the only guy that thinks like this in this industry. And, just getting back to, I'll just kind of pause there before I get into like the human booking, because we do offer that as well. But I just want to pause there for a second.
Yeah, I think what sticks out to me, and Scott, I'm curious what you think, is I think it's a big level, because you almost got to wonder, when you think about folks trying to phase out like carrier sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, larger box, but it's like, maybe you're trying to get rid of the wrong middleman?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm just making a question, right? Like
it's commoditized. They're a commodity broker.
Yeah. So it's like, I wonder if you're getting rid of the wrong thing by like, instead, if you're focusing on that, when the real value is empowering a driver to be more organized so that they can get more freight, so that they can run more loads, so that the people that are actually executing are up here now. Like, I imagine like I watched some videos on the internet, and, Scott and I think have a guest coming up, but we've talked to folks that have like started a career in this job and taken it very seriously at 18 years old, right out of school, and they don't have debt. The only thing they've got is a truck note, and they're close to paying that off, right? But they don't have $300,000 in college debt, and they make really good money.
Totally.
But there's something missing. There's like a business acumen piece that they're learning and they're stumbling through, like we all did when we started our career. And I can't help but think that something like this is you're upskilling. You're allowing someone to execute at a higher level, the same way Scott and I are with certain sales tools that we use that make us far more efficient. And like I can think of something like Fathom, right? It's a great product. If I have a phone if I have a phone call with someone or a customer, potential customer, and I'm able to turn around within 30 minutes and say, here's what we talked about. Here's what mattered to you. Here's what our next steps are. And obviously I'm going to edit those things based on what I think is most important or what I believe the customer thinks. But being able to be on that, I mean, there is such a massive difference in a salesperson that's able to do that and stay organized. It sends such an amazing message to your customer. I imagine it does the same thing for a driver. You could take someone that maybe wouldn't have a shot at some of these other loads, but if they have an organized approach, maybe they get that opportunity. Maybe they start running a bit more. Maybe they pay that truck off early. Like that's a big deal.
Well, it is a big deal because like you could, if you're always chasing the load, right? Doing this search, AI can do that. It can, hands down, it can do it better than any human, right? I don't think there's any question about that. Let AI take that task, and then think of all that time it gives you back. Like to do that, to do a little bit of customer service, or for you call your wife, FaceTime your kids, right? Yeah. Think about your next move in your business that you're doing instead of stressing. Oh man, I'm going to be in Houston tomorrow morning. I don't have a load, and I can't look. Whatever, or your wife's looking and she's pissed off because she's got to drop the kids off. She's in the
you won't be there.
So one of the jokes we had is like, we're probably going to be saving some marriages here, Hey,
that's always a good thing.
Yeah, but, that makes me think for a second, like, as you guys continue to develop this out, like the ability, like all the other things that, this is one product, but all the other things that you could tack onto this. It makes things better. That's so awesome, man. Sorry, Scott, go ahead. I just wanted to add that in there.
No, absolutely. You're good. And I think people have to, especially in our space, and I think it's basically what we're getting at now is that just don't replace the people. I think the key for AI shouldn't be to replace the people. It's just let it do the menial tasks that we don't have to do. Like you said, that they simply don't have the time to do. Like, put yourself back in a truck and imagine, and I'm sure this is part of the idea, like how much easier it is if you know that 80, I don't know, I don't know how I haven't used the product, but it's the 85% chance you don't have to look for your own load because Harper's going to find it, right? Like you said, I've never driven a truck in my life. And to me, I just felt like this wave of, like as a sales guy, I guess it's comparable for a sales guy saying like, hey, you just don't have to prospect.
It's maybe kind of like having an SDR, like that's maybe the equivalent.
Yeah. Like an SDR, yeah. And like you said, and where it's going to sell, talking to Michael Lombard in the past, like his thing is like, drivers are constantly being sold to, and it's literally they're being sold to.
Yeah.
They're not.
Everybody's got their finger in their pocket, man.
Right. So what's actually going to help them? Like to your point, we joke, that will save some marriages, but that's the value. Like maybe you will.
Yeah,
that's good.
And like just the basic subscription for AI load search is $99 a month. Like to me, you can't even. Can you buy a mud flap for $99? I don't know. Probably you can't buy anything on a truck for $99.
I don't think you can get Hulu for $99 a month.
I just emailed while we were recording that they're updating my specific. No, I'm not kidding. I got the email. I'm like, what's this? I clicked while Paul was asking a question. It said $99.99, and I'm like, I thought it was like $104.
For 99 cents less, you can have Bestloads. No, I'm just
yeah, exactly. So it was like, So anyway, Hulu, whatever. But But no, again, to that point, it's like, okay, yeah, you're spending $100 a month on this product, but you're really not, because it's finding you, like you said, just finding you more loads, giving you times for customer service, or to FaceTime your kids, which that's priceless. Talk to the wife, that's priceless, right? So those are the best, for me, the best product situations where you truly are providing something that's gonna do good, right? Like Conduit's a great product, Revenova is a great product. Like, you need them, but like, are they truly, like, there are situations where it could make somebody's life better because they're more organized. They have to go home a little bit earlier, maybe, but like yours is directly pointed at just revolutionizing how these people who are doing this all the frigging time, just do that one less time. Like, it's just one less thing they don't have to juggle. And I think that's what's great. And I think that's similar to, when we were talking to Bill Hale a couple of weeks ago, FetchGo, right? Being able to, okay, when a truck breaks down, how do we make that easier for them so they're not sitting for an hour, 2 hours with no response? Like, I can't imagine. Like, if my girlfriend misses a call, if I miss her call for 30 minutes, she's like sending in the SWAT team because she thinks I'm dead. Imagine being your driver broken down, you hear nothing for over an hour. That's really difficult.
Yeah, I think the important thing is that, like, good tech, I love this like line, and I don't know who I stole it from, but good tech, like good technology, gets you home before 5:30 so you can see your kids. That's what it does. Whether you're selling it to a warehouse or to a brokerage, like, there are things in Revenova that make it easy. Michael, I'm sure you know, being in
I use Revenova.
Yep.
Hey, shout out.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's like, there are things that make your life easier in that if you were doing that on books and email like you would, a long time, that would have been a lot harder, right? There'd be a lot less time at the table to go over, how to spell and how to this with the kids. So, like, it really is the same thing. And I think the only difference is here is that your product's a lot more, while it is technically a B2B business, it's a lot like B2C.
It's B2C. It feels
really
more
is.
B2C.
And that's always been my favorite. Like, I miss selling cars because you were talking to the person that was going to buy it. And, like, when you're in B2B, you're talking to 15 people who are trying to make a decision on if this fits XYZ, right? And it's such a different experience. So I think you guys are in a really good spot in that sense.
I hope so. We really want to help some drivers, and in another service level that we have, speaking of getting back to this, like, it's a relationship business. People want to talk to real people, and I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. And maybe the AI is going to get there sometime. Maybe the industry is going to get there at some time. I don't know when that is. And quite honestly, like, that's a way easier business to build. Like, end-to-end AI is actually way easier. So what the driver can do is, like, and this is load by load, right? So the basic sub is $99 a month, unlimited load search, unlimited, hey, this load ain't working, find me another one, right?
Sure,
that's totally unlimited. But if you get to a situation where the driver, you're just busy, whatever, you're dealing with traffic and crap, and you see this load, like, I really want this load. We have a human that Harper, our AI agent, will text you the best fit loads, and you can text her back. You can just sit there, push talk to text, right, and say, book load number 2 for me, right? And as soon as that happens, a real human gets a notification with all of those load details and is calling that broker on your behalf within a matter of seconds, right? Awesome. And I think that's it. And I will say, it's a US based person, right? We're not going to offshore this. I love offshore, worked with them in my tech life. In this space, I just feel like it doesn't super work. And, it's not really, you want to put your best foot forward, and having, US based dispatcher call you. And quite honestly, like, there are, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of really good dispatchers out there, right? But a really good dispatcher plus AI is pretty hard to beat. Finding, no person can go through hundreds of loads instantaneously and surface the best ones, and it kind of gives you a better chance to get those loads. And it's not, a lot of people will say that like speed, like if you're the first one to call or email on a load, you're going to get it. That's not necessarily true. Like you got to put that best foot forward. And that's like one of our core values is to help drivers build their business and and if we're representing them, it's going to be professional and it's going to be buttoned up. And and just that, there's no like lock you in, you got to pay this dispatcher for whatever. It's like, hey, I'm busy. I'm trying to back into this door and this guy is being a jerk. And fill in the blank of 100 reasons why, or your wife's pissed and you really got to call her. Like just Harper can just like, hey, book this load for me. Right. And a real human's going to follow up and take care of everything for you there.
Michael, you mentioned the wife getting mad thing a few times. I feel like you frustrated the old lady a few times on the road. On the load, Bestloads. Hey,
it's tough. It's tough. There's a joke that if you're married to a truck driver, you get a part-time husband and a full-time paycheck. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it can be a tough life, but no, happily married for
Absolutely.
nearly 30 years. So.
Wow. Hey, that's amazing, man. Congrats. You don't hear it too often, and that's wonderful. And you guys, before we get into that, because I am interested in the background, and I know Paul is interested in diving in more to it too. Anything else about Bestloads or about just what folks can do to better be advocates for drivers, for owner ops, for carriers in general? Because again, we all know that lack of a better term, they're the backbone for everything. So their service is aimed at helping them. What's maybe something else that you maybe just really want to say, whether it has to do with your product or not, just carrier wise?
With running a trucking company for a long time, I've learned a lot, and I haven't run a trucking company like with employees for it's been over 10 years. I still talk to a lot of guys all the time. Actually, 2013, we were awarded the Small Family-Owned Business of the Year from the SBA, and that was because of our driver retention. We had a 13% turnover. With 20 to 25 trucks. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, so it's a guy a year.
Yeah, and you're going to naturally have some turnover but I'm a big advocate. I get it. Like a lot of guys really get treated like dog crap, everywhere they go. And there are a lot of really good drivers who just want to work hard and be treated with respect. And, I feel like this product that's what we're geared for. Like these good drivers, it's a tool to help you be just run your business better. And to me, like a success story would not necessarily, for Bestloads, a success story would not necessarily be like, hey, I have Harper, they're booking all of the loads for me and, whatever, and it works great. Like to me, a success story would be like, hey, Bestloads saved me like a couple hours a day. And it actually let me land a direct customer that's given me 2 loads a week, And now I just hired another driver, or I'm going to go start a brokerage because I'm getting more freight. Like that's what a success story looks like to me. So.
Yeah, Mike, you bring up a good point. It's something I remember talking with you, and I think you posted on LinkedIn a couple of times. But one of the things I always thought was crazy was, there weren't a lot of carriers and I've talked to other folks, right? There's not a lot of carriers that have figured out how to go direct.
Yeah.
And it's such a challenge because you gotta be the sales guy, and you gotta be the driver, and you gotta be this, and you gotta be that. Now I have talked to some folks, right, that are owner ops, and it's like them and their brothers or their sisters, and there's a bit of the family, and they run 5 loads a week or 5 loads a day every day for a regional customer, right? Yep. And like they don't go to a broker. They're like, that's it. That's dedicated capacity, and it's local. Which God, how you're gonna run the consistent route and you're gonna get home every night. That's pretty crazy. But thinking about that, like that's something that I feel like this really opens the door for.
Yeah, I was kind of, after I got laid off from LoadSmart, I was kind of debating kind of which direction I was going to go in. And one of the directions I was going to go in was to like be a consultant and help small trucking companies go find a new shipper. And I'll tell you, like I got my carrier authority not too long after that. And I remember so everybody says it is hard to find direct shippers, right? I will say that. I've been like in shipper sales and a brokerage aspect for a long time. So, I have a lot of reps, right? But so my authority went live on December 28th, right? That was the day one of my authority. And my first load I hauled on that day was for a direct shipper. And so like, it is possible. A lot of people say they only work with carriers with 6 months or 2 years of authority, right? It's just putting yourself out there, and it takes time. And if you're constantly hunting that load board, that's just a time suck. That's doesn't really add a lot of value.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to think about because again, like it goes back to kind of Scott, that's our job, right? Like I got to get told it's about how many times can I get told no before I'm going to get told.
Yeah.
And like,
how
do you have time to do that when you're driving a 48,000 pound, or 80,000 pound vehicle, right? And you're also trying to cover the boat, you're also trying to do this and that. And those are all the hard things to do. So I think that's really exciting, Mike. Like I'm really stoked for that. Is there any update on, how folks can get a hold of this product?
Yeah. So we're Bestloads.AI. That's the best place to go. Sign ups super easy. And right now, as of the recording of this, we're just pre-launch. I think by the time this is actually released, we're going to be fully launched. We're just buttoning up some integrations that we have right now. And we're going to be going, man. And we're going to be, those early adopting truckers that are early customers. We're going to be looking to them for a ton of input. Like I've been in the industry a long time. I've done a lot of things, but dude, I've done like 3% of the stuff in this industry. Like it's a massive industry. So, there's a lot of scenarios and stuff that I probably haven't even thought of where this is going to have to be adapt a little bit. So,
do you think that the younger truckers will adopt it first? Or do you think some of the old school guys and gals will hop on it? What do you think? Where do you think like maybe attack first and feedback?
I've talked to a lot of drivers. I have a lot of drivers that work for me every week. And, I've been talking to these guys about it. I think it's across the board. I think people really underestimate how smart a lot of truckers are. They really do. It's easy to use too. It's not like I got to go have another flipping app or, whatever. It's just, just text, call it. And, you guys talk to the voice. You can tell, we're not trying to trick anybody and say that this is a real person, but it's pretty decent. And the important part is it understands. And it's not like you're calling your bank and you're like, agent, type of things. It's conversational, and whatever's easier for the driver is
100%.
What we're basing it on.
So the agent thing is funny. One time that just reminded me of completely out of left field, but rather than agent, right? So one time, I think it was my buddy or it was my girlfriend, I forget who, but they were on hold and they just started talking about their day. And I was so confused. I was like, I thought you were on with like Chase. What's going on? And they're like, if you say agent, it recognizes and it keeps trying to get you to talk. Like, but if you just start babbling nonsense, it'll get confused and pass you to somebody. So I just threw that out there.
I've heard also that if you like start swearing and like saying you're a disgruntled customer, like it'll bump you up too. Like,
and you're like, hey, how are you?
Bank and screw this, And I tried that once, and somebody answered. I was like, oh,
and you're like, good morning, how are you?
Good morning, sir. How are you? Well,
you got to answer it real kind. Hey, how are you? Great. I'm so glad you're talking to me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But no, so I mean, I think think I really am excited to see this come out. I think a lot of people are. I think, or a lot of people once they see this will be. It just makes so much sense. I guess usually towards the end of the show, what we really like to do is click in on, some of your experiences on the road, some of your experiences in brokerage.
Yeah, for
sure. And you've been really lucky to have had quite a few experiences.
Oh yeah,
on both ends, right? And so I'm curious if you'd be willing to tell the folks, some stories.
Sure.
Maybe one.
I'm like any truck driver. I got a ton of stories. Like how much time
we could do a full 2 hours.
Yeah. I would like to hit my macros and eat on time, but yeah.
One of the best stories I had. So we were my dad's company. We're based out of the Seattle, Washington area. We're flatbeds. We did a ton of oversized stuff, stretch trailers, stretch step deck, stretch double drop. We even had steerable dollies. Like the biggest load we ever did, it was on a stretch double drop, right? 50 foot in the well, 22 feet tall, 20 foot wide. It was a long time ago. I charged $100,000 for that load, and it was not enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it went
never is.
Like 400 miles for $100,000. It was bananas. It took 3 weeks. And I paid probably close to 70 in escorts. And
just escorts.
Yeah, it was at one point, gosh, I don't even remember. I think because we actually had to drop power lines, and we had the town of Gooding, Idaho. We had to pay somebody to go notify the town that they were going to be without power that night as we came through. So, but so we did all that, and I love that stuff. And I still have like all this oversized knowledge sticking around in some file cabinet at the back of my brain. It's not doing me any good right now. But so my dispatcher and I, we had this project, and we'd run stuff from the mainland, mostly Washington and Oregon, up to northern Alberta and also Alaska. And we had this project we were doing with a bunch of oversized pipes, 10 foot wide, right? 10 foot diameter pipe. And we were running them up to somewhere in Alaska. I forget the name, but we were running behind on the project, and me and my dispatcher, we were like, hey, let's run one this weekend. Let's team drive it. And like, if we have
you and the dispatcher
for us, we can be back in the office by Monday morning. Right. And we left like a little early and just hauled ass up there.
That's awesome.
The drivers, they'd always tell me like, hey, this is the first time we've been to this part. It's kind of like down by Ketchikan, which is down on the lower part. And you have to it's mostly landlocked, but there is one road that gets out to a certain part of it. But as you go up the Alcan, and I don't know if this is true anymore, but like the drivers would tell me like, there's a wooden bridge. I'm like, there's not a flipping wooden bridge. Like you guys are just pulling chain, and it was my turn to drive.
Messing with you. Yeah.
Snowing. And I'm going like, 50, 60 miles an hour. I got chains on and oversized load. And it was a 10 foot diameter pipe, but it was elbowed. So it was actually like 12 foot tall and off the deck. So anyways, I see the sign says, wood bridge ahead. And I'm like, and what's funny, as soon as I saw that sign, there was a freaking bear like right on the side of the road. And I was like, oh shit, a bear. And oh shit, wood bridge. Oh, and I'm going way too fast to hit a wood bridge. And, just gear it down. And as soon as we get right to that wood bridge, we throw one of the tire chains off. And it was pretty close to where that bear was.
Oh God.
And, it's snowing, and we're just like, man, we're just a couple of dumbasses up here in Alaska. Like, we need to go back to the office. So we threw the chain, and we didn't have any extra change. Like a stupid dummy mistake, right? And you always got extras, right? And this was when we had just started going up there, too. So, as I learned, I would make sure that my guys were more prepared than I was. And we're like, we need that tire chain. And there's a freaking bear pretty close to it. And so me and the other guy, we rock, paper, scissors, who was gonna walk back and go get the chain in front of the bear. And I lost. So I start
Do you
walking.
have like a rifle or a shotgun or anything?
Reliving my life, like it was a good life, right? And these guys came up in this pickup, and they're like, "What are you guys doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I threw my chain back on the road." Like, "Yeah, we ran it over." They're like, "Did you see the bear?" And I'm like, "I did see the bear." And they're like, "Are you dumb?" Or and then they gave me a ride to go get it.
You armed?
Yeah, it was like, "What are you stupid?" We were still in Canada, so you couldn't actually have a firearm, but
oh, true.
Yeah, no
He
no
just
firearms. But that was probably probably my craziest trucking story, at least top 3.
That is pretty wild. Was it?
Yeah.
Wait, top 3. Well, you just teed yourself up now.
Okay, I got to tell you one more then. This one is pretty nuts.
Real quick, was it a grizzly or what kind of bear?
No, so we were doing you know what a rear steerable dolly is?
Mm-hmm.
So you have
Roughly.
the truck, right, and a dolly, and then you have a super long load. I think this was 120 foot long, the load was. And then in the back you have a dolly that like is steerable to move the ass end, kind of like a Tillerman, like on the fire trucks, right?
Yeah.
Trucks, right? And we did a old school, and so they have like electric over hydraulic where there's a dude in a car like steering them. But the city of Seattle, because all this stuff went to Alaska eventually, but it'd be put on a barge, and that's a lot of what we did. But in order to go into the city of Seattle with this, to drop it off at the barge line, you had to have a police escort. Yeah, so this one, all the way up, upper left. That was
Nikes.
Yeah, that's one of my. I think that's sound. But yeah, we had something like that, and then the dolly in the back, and so we'd have to go in under police escort. And so Seattle wouldn't allow an electric over hydraulic dolly. It had to be a manned steer car. And we would go in, we'd have to be off the road by 5 a.m. And I remember waking up at 2 a.m. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to call the steer car guy and have him do a load this morning. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm getting in a steer car, and went down to the yard, hopped in it. I'd never done it before. And, but I'd done it with the guys enough. And I was a pilot car a lot of times for these guys. So I would, be spotting them. And so I kind of knew, and I'd driven truck enough. I felt good about it. So anyways, as we're pulling out of the yard onto this 2-lane road, a car came, and it was just one of those nights in Washington, super dark, raining, low clouds. And this car came, and it's a 50-mile-an-hour road. And she went right underneath our load. We were turning right. The dude in the truck was on oncoming traffic on the opposite side of the road. I was still back in the yard, right, like this. And
oh my God,
we got flashy, twirly lights everywhere. And this lady comes, and I can see her, doesn't even tap her lights. The top of her car hits the bottom of the load. And not only that, but we would put a wire between the 2 bunks. There's the bunk where it's attached to, and then there's one on the back. We would put a cable in between those, and we'd like leapfrog chains and binders. So it was like tight as a guitar string. And I'm like, and it would hang down a foot below the load. And she hit the load with the top of her car. And I'm like, holy crap. That person just lost their head. Like, there is no way that their head is still intact to their body. And so anyways, I'm like, I'm going to get on the CB, just pull it over, get off the road, everybody off the road. We get off the road. I'm closest to her. So I go and I see her, and she's laying back in her car, and I'm totally expecting to see like blood and gore. And this lady, her seat's tilted all the way back flat. And she's like, what the hell just happened? And I'm like, lady, I cannot believe that you're still alive. Like, didn't you see us? And she goes, yeah, I saw a bunch of lights. I just thought it was construction. And I'm like, so you don't slow down for construction? It's like,
it's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
We ended up tapping out our insurance. Then we paid her like another $30,000. But
how do you not see that? how do you not?
It's just the mentality of, people in cars. Like they don't think all the way through.
I see that a lot. I've driven. My family does a family reunion thing out in West Virginia, right? Some friends of the family, and I've driven out there, and I got to tell you, there are people. It always amazes me that someone in you ever see those smart cars?
Of course, yeah. The little you put in your pocket, little cute little thing.
Yeah, the little teeny the go-kart. So they'll get up, and then they'll cut over to go around somebody to get in front of an 18-wheeler, and then they will slow down.
Yeah.
And it's like I even see it in my I see it in my, I drive a Tacoma. It's not the biggest truck. I actually think it's one of the smaller trucks in America. Like it's not that large. It's got a lift to it. It's got 4 doors. It's
bigger than a smart car. You could fit that in the bed. Probably.
Yeah, but you see people. I get cut off by someone in a Prius once a month when I drive, and I'm like, "Are you really going to slam on the brakes? This thing is pretty heavy."
Yeah.
When I idle it, I can hear it going klug, 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 klug. Are you? Like, what are we doing? You really thought that was a good idea? And I think that people
think they're invincible or something. It's not going to happen.
It's like a bicyclist. Sometimes there's folks that are like, that'll hit the side of your car when you're stopped. Like my rear view mirror on the side, my side view mirror's in the way. Like, oh, it's in the bike lane. It's like, okay, come on. Something else is going on. You don't need to yell at me. I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
I'm listening to, I'm on hour 2 of a podcast and I'm just trying to get to where I'm trying to go. But it's crazy stuff. But yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there. And I'm getting note here that Scott has lost internet down in Florida. So I think we got to get him a Starlink or something. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. This is great. This is fun.
Absolutely. I think this is really fun. And I think all we have to do now is, I believe we just have to leave once we're done. So all you really, I think we just leave. So one of the things I would say is, if there's anything else you want to share about where people can find you, where people can find Bestloads.AI, any of that stuff, let me know. Or tell the folks here, and then we'll
Bestloads.AI. That's a great place to start. Or if you have questions before you want to sign up, Mike at Bestloads.ai. Super, doesn't get any easier than that. So
no, it really doesn't. It really doesn't.
And one thing I do actually want to add is we are doing this without VC funding. That is our goal. I've been through 3 different of these venture capital based companies. It kind of changes things. Mm-hmm. It's not always a bad thing. I'm not saying that, but it's really hard for a lot of people in venture capital to actually understand trucking.
It's hard for people in trucking to understand trucking.
That's true.
A generalist is
crazy goals. You've lived this life. Some crazy goal or something, and that's it's what are we doing here? This is what we're building. We're not building DoorDash or whatever you think.
Yeah. No, it's such a good point, because one of the things I think is, one of the reasons I think I've been able to be successful is a lot of I got a lot of experience from my family and my uncle, and he had started a business and I think he ended up exiting that business in 2013, 14, but it was a janitorial business. And, it was all, I spent summers busting my hump working for him and cleaning every ungodly thing you could imagine. And I think that one of the things that comes up is, I think when you have a situation where you have near-term goals that are very aggressive, but you have a long-term goal to grow, sometimes one of them's going to have to get sacrificed, right? And I think this will resonate with you. And it's you got to be really careful about sacrificing the permanent on the ultra, the immediate. The quick buck is not the same as a customer that's going to come back to you every year, right? And then what else is an annual recurring business? What is a SaaS model? It is a customer that comes back to you every year. And so those things sometimes end up in a little bit of a swing, I think. I definitely agree with what you're saying. And I think that's awesome that you're coming from a place where it's this is by us, for us, having driven a truck, having driven, a rear steer dolly, which is not easy, and all of these things. and you get it, and there's other people that are going to get it. And I'm really happy to see what your customer base does with it, man. I'm so stoked for you. And it's so great to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. Absolutely.
Awesome.
So appreciate it.
Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. I will catch you on the flip. And thanks everybody for listening to Domiciled. You can check us out on YouTube, Instagram. We're on Spotify, and we post on LinkedIn.